There's a subtle, almost imperceptible moment when something deep inside you triggers the blocking of your own aspirations. And the most intriguing part is that often, you don't even realize it's happening. It's like a quiet voice, nestled in the core of your mind, whispering that perhaps you're not capable, that perhaps you don't deserve it, that maybe it's better to simply stay exactly where you are. And it's precisely at this juncture that most people find their life's path completely altered, for the worse. Because when your own mind sabotages your goals, you don't need any external adversary. Everything is already unfolding within you. Throughout my life, I've witnessed this countless times: talented individuals, brilliant people brimming with potential yet trapped in an unending cycle of self-sabotage, failing to grasp that the issue wasn't a scarcity of opportunities, nor a lack of intelligence, nor even bad luck. The real problem lay in the mental framework they'd carried since childhood, shaped by principles passed down from one generation to the next. And I experienced this firsthand myself. It wasn't just theory. It wasn't merely academic study. It was anguish, confusion, and a profound conviction that my life was destined to be modest. There was a period when I was doing jobs I detested, work that made me feel as though the world had forgotten me. I replaced tires, cleaned parts, took on any odd job that came my way, without purpose or direction. And yet, even in that dull, uninspired routine, my mind echoed a phrase many of you know all too well: this is what you deserve. How many times have you pondered that? On how many occasions have you looked at yourself in the mirror and felt you should just settle? That it wasn't worth trying again? That those born merely to survive would never learn to thrive? And the most curious thing is that this doesn't only manifest in moments of failure. Sometimes, when an opportunity arises, when something momentous is about to happen, it's precisely then that the mind begins to sabotage. I distinctly recall when my life took an unexpected turn. It was after I found a book that transformed everything for me. I was completely disoriented, without an academic background, without prospects, without resources, and most importantly, without self-esteem. I had just left my job with the fire department, carrying the trauma of my wounded finger, which seemed to symbolize how I saw myself, as someone imperfect, limited, inadequate. And yet, during that time when everything seemed to suggest I had no worth at all, I discovered something no one had ever taught me before: the way you perceive yourself entirely shapes the way you live. It was astonishing to realize that I wasn't failing because the world was overly complex. I was failing because my mind hadn't been programmed to anticipate anything beyond challenges. My own brain was working against me. And that's what I want you to understand today: it's not external circumstances that prevent you from achieving your goals, it's the silent programming within you that defines the scope of your existence. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have a natural knack for creating opportunities, while others seem to undermine everything they touch? This isn't coincidence. It's conditioning. And to illustrate this even more clearly, consider something simple. How many times have you made ambitious plans, felt enthusiastic, envisioned something extraordinary, and then abandoned the idea because you assumed it wouldn't work out? This isn't a lack of ability. This is your mind trying to keep you exactly where you are. Self-sabotage offers comfort. Progress does not. And what few understand is that this mechanism wasn't created by you. It was installed. By past experiences, by uncertainties, by traumas, by criticisms you heard as a child, by circumstances that left deep imprints without you even realizing. And realize this issue isn't exclusive to ordinary people. Many well-known individuals have experienced precisely this internal struggle. Elon Musk, for example, before achieving the monumental success everyone recognizes, was vehemently rejected, questioned, and even humiliated for his ideas. The difference? He didn't allow his mind to dictate the scope of his aspirations. He knew that if he yielded to the limitations imposed by his own consciousness, he would never have conceived anything he accomplished. He confronted self-sabotage, faced his inner doubts, and determined that his dreams were greater than his fears. Now I want you to look at your own life and answer honestly: how many opportunities have you let slip away because you believed the facades your mind echoed? How many projects have you abandoned because you judged it wasn't the right time? How many times have you heard an inner voice saying, "What if it goes wrong?" and simply backed down? Most people back down. And not because they are incapable, but because they don't allow themselves to try. Today, I want to challenge you to pay attention to what your brain is trying to do right this instant. Is it encouraging you to move forward? Or is it trying to shield you from the discomfort of growth? Because, believe me, when you start to disrupt the structure of your paradigms, your mind reacts. It tries to pull you back into your comfort zone, even if that area is confined, limited, and painful. I learned this the hard way. But I did learn it. And today, I want to guide you through this process, step by step, demonstrating that you don't need to continue living a life diminished by fear, by hesitation, and by self-sabotage. Because when you grasp this deeply, everything transforms. And I'm going to prove that throughout this video material. When I began to understand that my mind was the ground where everything blossomed, my goals, my fears, my resolutions, my achievements, and even my setbacks, I realized I needed to do something no one had ever taught me. I needed to take control of my thoughts. And this isn't simple. It's not quick. And, most importantly, it's not pleasant. Because going against your own mental programming requires you to confront old beliefs, beliefs that often echo the voice of someone who left their mark on your existence. It could be the voice of a strict parent, a worried mother, a critical teacher, an aggressive superior. How many of these voices still resonate within you, without you even realizing? And all of this unfolds so silently that most people spend years living on autopilot, believing they are making conscious decisions, when in reality, they are merely obeying emotional patterns they don't even know exist. That's why, when someone tries to break free from the usual routine and build something extraordinary, they feel fear, unease, uncertainty, not because the goal is unattainable, but because the brain is trying to keep them on their habitual path. It's like trying to navigate with an outdated map. You know you want to go further, but your mind insists on pointing to the same old route. And that's precisely why I assert that the greatest obstacle to your success isn't external, it's internal. It's not the government, it's not the economy, it's not the crisis, it's not a lack of opportunities. It's the mental programming you've been reiterating for years. It's the fear you inherited and didn't realize. It's the hesitation you nurture without noticing. It's the self-sabotage you practice daily, imagining you're being realistic, when, in fact, you're merely being conditioned. Now, before we continue, I want to ask for something critically important. If this content is making sense to you so far, if in some way it's expanding your mind or making you see aspects of yourself you've never noticed before, then please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. This isn't just a symbolic gesture. Every time you interact with content like this, the platform understands that more people need to hear it. And this helps the channel continue reaching individuals who, like you, might be living trapped by programming that prevents their dreams. When you leave a like and subscribe, you're not just supporting the creator. You're supporting the transformation of other people. Now, let's return to the main point. Recent neuroscience research reveals something incredibly powerful. The human brain prioritizes avoiding suffering, not seeking gratification. That is, when you think about a major project, a significant goal, a substantial leap in life, your mind doesn't ask, how can I achieve this? It asks, how can I avoid failure? And this simple mechanism, when not understood, annihilates careers, relationships, finances, and even mental health. A powerful example of this occurred with a personality many admired for many years, Whitney Houston. An artist with a remarkable voice, a talent that could have shone for decades. But even with all her fame and success, she fought a deep internal battle, emotional conflicts, insecurities, a silent struggle with her own mind. The result? A life marked by devastating highs and lows, because when you don't control your internal patterns, they end up controlling you. In the end, self-sabotage prevails, regardless of renown or aptitude. If such a phenomenon affects well-known, revered figures, surrounded by resources and opportunities, imagine the impact it has on the lives of most ordinary individuals. And it's possible you're experiencing precisely this condition right now. Perhaps you possess exceptional capability but can't present it to the world. Maybe you have a venture you endlessly procrastinate on, believing it's not quite ready yet. Maybe you possess a skill you've never recognized because someone once convinced you it wasn't important. Or perhaps you remain chained to monotony, repeating the same old routines, oblivious to an inner calling for expansion. And I understand this situation to its core, because I've been exactly there myself. When I first started my cleaning service business, I lacked experience, formal education, capital, connections, yet I had two things that changed everything: the resolve to believe in a different reality and the courage to act despite fear. It was this combination that allowed me, during that initial year, to earn over $100,000, an unimaginable feat for someone who, until then, was just drifting without a clear direction. This wasn't magic. It wasn't by chance. It was a shift in mental paradigm. By transforming how you think, you change how you act. And when you change how you act, the universe recalibrates its response to you. And I want you, from this moment forward, to begin observing the areas of your life where you've been unconsciously holding yourself back. Do you procrastinate? Are you afraid to say no? Do you compare yourself to others? Are you overly self-critical? Do you hesitate to take risks? Do you feel insignificant when faced with opportunities? All these clear signs indicate that your mental configuration is running on autopilot. And rest assured, this condition isn't your fault. However, the responsibility to change it falls on you. So, before we move to the more intimate phase of this metamorphosis, I propose an exercise for you. For the next 3 days, every time an adverse thought about yourself arises, any rumination of uncertainty, fear, fragility, or self-judgment, I want you to stop immediately and say to yourself, "This idea does not belong to me, it is a product of my mental pattern." Just that. Don't argue with the idea. Don't fight it. Merely acknowledge that it emanates from a pre-existing coding. This simple gesture will begin to erode the influence of that architecture over you. It's the inaugural step to unchaining consciousness. And if you undertake this challenge, even for a short period, you will notice the transmutation of your perception. And when perception changes, everything transforms. As you begin to observe your ideas with greater acuity, a captivating phenomenon manifests. You start to discern patterns that have always been present, but which you had never detected. And it is at this point that one of the most crucial segments of this entire journey emerges, understanding that the brain was not designed to make you prosper, but rather to ensure your subsistence. And subsistence doesn't demand grand aspirations. It doesn't require audacious goals. It doesn't need expansion. To subsist requires habit, repetition, prudence, and persistence. Consequently, when you contemplate expanding your existence, your own intellect interprets this as a danger. It activates remote memories, unpleasant impressions, involuntary ruminations, and uncomfortable feelings in an attempt to lead you back to the familiar environment. This elucidates why so many individuals, even harboring a genuine desire to improve their lives, persist in repeating the same behaviors, the same mistakes, the same habits. And perhaps this situation is happening to you. It's probable that you promise yourself, with each passing year, that you will transform, that you will begin, that you will undertake, that you will finally execute that decisive breakthrough, but invariably something happens, and you return to your comfort zone. And the longer you remain in that area, the more it metamorphoses into an imperceptible prison. And I know the dynamic of this precisely, because, throughout my journey, I have observed thousands of individuals in seminars, training sessions, conferences, consultations, remarkable human beings, endowed with immense capacity, but who became stagnant in the same aspect. Their minds had been conditioned to believe that evolution represented a threat. And as long as you harbor this conviction, whether deliberately or not, your existence will remain captive to a repetitive pattern: yearning, enthusiasm, fear, uncertainty, surrender. Do you identify this chain? How many times have you experienced such a thing? The reality is that, to break this mold, you need to assimilate something that isn't taught in primary schools, nor in universities, nor in professional settings. You need to learn to reconfigure your self-perception. For every attitude you adopt, every choice you make, every goal you pursue, everything springs from how you see yourself. If you consider yourself a restricted individual, your deliberations will be equally restricted. If you believe you are someone without aptitude, your behavior will demonstrate fragility. If you presume you were born for the minimum, you will never be able to conceive of greatness. And this isn't philosophical speculation. It's human conduct, tested over several decades by investigations in psychology, neuroscience, and analyses of mindset. A renowned study by Stanford University revealed that individuals with a fixed mindset, who assume their abilities are finite, tend to give up more readily, show greater fear of obstacles, and avoid opportunities that might reveal their vulnerabilities. In contrast, people with a growth mindset not only confront difficulties but also use impediments as motivation. The issue is that most human beings learned early on that it's forbidden to make mistakes, that it's not allowed to fail, that one shouldn't try too hard, and they carry this belief into adulthood as if it were an axiom. And this reminds me a lot of an episode 1 experienced even before establishing myself as an entrepreneur. I was looking to start an income stream with a modest cleaning business and, at a certain point, I was contacted for a job in a vast office, located in a more affluent area. The moment I ended the call, I was overcome by a wave of apprehension. It was the kind of client I didn't think would put faith in my abilities. And, for a brief moment, I was about to decline the service offer. Not due to inability to perform, but rather because I didn't believe I was worthy of that opportunity. I was faced with a feeling that countless of you have experienced, the impression of being insufficient for a significant leap. However, an inner voice whispered, "Accept it. Even if you're afraid." And I agreed. That task opened up avenues that completely altered the trajectory of my business. And whenever I reflect on this, I realize how simple it would have been to allow fear to dictate my path. It's unsettling to ponder how life could have taken an entirely different course due to a simple choice based on self-sabotage. And this leads us to a striking realization: frequently, what keeps you from your next big breakthrough is not a lack of knowledge, nor an absence of skill, nor a scarcity of opportunities. It is the absence of emotional bravery to confront the inner discomfort that precedes evolution. This discomfort isn't your adversary. It is the harbinger that you are about to transgress a mental model. It is the indication that your consciousness is entering an unexplored domain, and it is precisely at this point that your life truly begins to transform. However, to strengthen this argument, I wish to evoke the case of a very famous individual who experienced the inverse of this situation. Mike Tyson, one of the most remarkable boxers of all time, possessed exceptional aptitude, colossal power, and almost unparalleled potential, yet, he harbored a fragmented self-perception. The world watched him triumph, shine, dominate, but deep down he harbored profound uncertainties, scars, unresolved emotional conditioning. And what was the outcome? He succumbed to financial, emotional, personal, and professional disarray. It wasn't the absence of skill that devastated his path. It was the mental configuration that was never reshaped. Talent devoid of mindset resembles a robust vehicle with a misaligned steering mechanism. Sooner or later, everything falls apart. I want you to assimilate this: it's irrelevant how intelligent, proficient, or selfless you are, if you don't change how you perceive yourself, your existence will remain circumscribed by your past self. And that previous representation strives to subsist. However, you did not come into the world merely to survive. You came to expand. Now, I propose a straightforward exercise for you. Reflect on one area of your life where you recognize you could be in a superior condition: finances, career, relationships, well-being, self-esteem. Select one. Then, ask yourself, what is the narrative my intellect constructs to explain why this situation hasn't changed yet? Because there is invariably a story. And that story constitutes the cipher of self-sabotage. The moment you decipher that cipher, you will begin to break the pattern. And in the subsequent section, I will show you precisely how to convert these veiled schemas into a new cognitive framework, a construct that does not impede itself, does not retreat, and does not self-sabotage. A framework that forges success from the inside out. For that is how everything begins. Always from the core to the external environment. As you begin to unravel the intrinsic narrative underlying your deepest concerns, clarity will emerge, allowing you to glimpse why your existence has unfolded along its current path. It's crucial to understand that absolutely nothing in your journey has happened by chance or accident. Every deliberate choice, every reactive response, every act of renunciation, every valuable opportunity missed, all these elements have been meticulously shaped by a hidden storyline, a sequence of thoughts and beliefs you've reproduced and reinforced for many long years. What's even more surprising, and perhaps disconcerting, is that this narrative wasn't conceived or invented by you, rather, it was inserted and established. This insertion occurred through life's circumstances, the influence of your developmental environment, interactions with those around you, and the impactful experiences that shaped your distant or recent past. However, at this precise moment, a singular opportunity presents itself to you, the chance to completely rewrite that story. To kickstart this transformative rewriting process, it's imperative to delve into a domain of knowledge that very few people truly master, a deep understanding of how your complex brain system develops and subsequently sustains emotional habits. Emotional habits can be defined as automatic patterns of feeling and reacting to various situations. They are what drive you to experience worry and anxiety even before you can identify the real cause or reason for such feelings. These habits lead you to envision the most pessimistic and unfavorable scenario even before considering the possibility of something positive or optimistic. They make you instinctively recoil and withdraw at crucial moments, when, in fact, the most appropriate attitude would be to move forward with determination. And the most serious and impactful aspect of all is that these emotional habits mislead you into believing that this way of being and feeling is an inherent part of your essence, of who you truly are. But it's crucial to understand that it is not. This manifestation is, in reality, a facet of who you've learned to become, the result of conditioning and adaptations. Modern science has solidified the proof that a significant portion, estimated at approximately 95%, of the choices and decisions you make throughout a typical day are entirely guided by unconscious impulses and processes. You might have the illusion and perception that you are making a conscious and deliberate choice, but, in reality, it's your paradigm, your ingrained set of beliefs and patterns, that is wielding the power of decision and directing your actions. It is precisely for this fundamental reason that you frequently make promises of transformation and change, yet still find yourself reliving the same situations and dilemmas repeatedly, in a seemingly endless cycle. And perhaps, at this very moment, you are starting to perceive and become aware of this. Perhaps you are now examining your own life and discerning behavioral and situational patterns that have repeated for many, many years, patterns you had solemnly sworn you would never allow to happen again, but which, in fact, continue to manifest because you were not acting at the root of the problem, but only on the superficial symptoms. And for it to be possible to effectively fragment and break these limiting patterns, you need to confront something that the vast majority of people deliberately avoid, the truth in its purest, unvarnished form. The undeniable truth that you hold full responsibility for what you accept and allow to remain in your life. The essential truth that you are responsible for what you tolerate and what you conform to. The powerful truth that you are responsible for what you repeat and perpetuate. And this responsibility, it is vital to emphasize, should not be interpreted as a burden of guilt, quite the opposite, it represents the most genuine freedom. This is because, the moment you position yourself as the main responsible party for the existence you currently possess, you automatically become, as a direct consequence, fully capable of architecting and building the life you truly long for and desire for yourself. But there is a crucial aspect that needs to be explicitly stated and understood: self-sabotage does not manifest exclusively in the emotional or mental realms. It also reveals itself behaviorally, through actions and attitudes. It is precisely for this reason that individuals endowed with great intelligence frequently make choices that are, by their nature, destructive. It is for this same reason that people with good sense and discernment end up making decisions that are irrational and contradictory. It is, furthermore, for this reason that individuals with extraordinary potential squander clear and tangible opportunities for progress and success. Self-sabotage, in its essence, instigates the creation of behaviors that radically and absolutely oppose what you genuinely aspire to live and experience. And, to powerfully illustrate this phenomenon, one only needs to look to the story of someone who, at a certain point, had absolutely everything in their hands and, despite that, lost every single one of those possessions, the notable MC Hammer. At the culmination of his resounding success, he achieved international fame, accumulated vast fortunes amounting to millions of dollars, had access to a universe of seemingly limitless opportunities, but what he lacked was an emotional and mental structure solid and prepared enough to manage and cope with such a magnitude of achievements and challenges. The force of self-sabotage compelled him to spend far more than he could earn, to place his trust in misguided and ill-intentioned people, to make impulsive and hasty decisions, and, gradually, to dismantle and destroy everything he had built with such meticulous care and dedication. This is not, from any perspective, a failure of talent or artistic ability. This is, in its essence, a lack of deep understanding of how the human mind operates and functions. And the inevitable fate of any individual who possesses an unprepared and disorganized mind is invariably the same: total collapse. Now, I invite you to reflect deeply on this for a brief moment. If even renowned celebrities, who enjoy an abundance of money, notoriety, a robust support team, global visibility, and virtually limitless resources, can lose everything they possess because of their own internal mental programming, what, then, would prevent this same situation from occurring with any ordinary person, an everyday individual? Why do so many people fail to evolve financially, remaining stagnant in their monetary conditions? Why do such a significant number of individuals abandon their projects and endeavors halfway, before reaching completion? Why do so many people reach the end of their lives without having realized their deepest dreams and aspirations? The answer to all these inquiries is remarkably simple and direct. They wage an incessant battle against the external world that surrounds them, but undertake absolutely no concrete action to transform and improve their own internal world. And this is precisely the central point I want you to absorb and understand with maximum depth. Everything you are experiencing and living in your current reality is a direct and mirrored reflection of your inner universe. Absolutely everything. Your emotional and social relationships are a mirror of your self-image and the perception you have of yourself. Your finances and economic situation directly reflect your most intimate beliefs about deservingness and self-worth. Your professional trajectory and career mirror the level of your self-confidence and security. Your daily routine and habits reflect your ingrained paradigms and mental models. The external life you observe and experience is merely the tangible projection of your internal life, of your deepest self. And, at this crucial moment, you need to begin an introspective dive into the question that truly holds meaning and importance: who do I need to transform into, and what kind of person do I need to become to, in fact, conquer and achieve what I ardently desire and long for? Because the fundamental question is not merely about what you want to obtain or possess. The true question lies in who you are and how you feel while nurturing that desire. And, with considerable frequency, what you desire is situated on a level far above and beyond what you, in your own internal perception, believe you deserve. And, when this notable dissonance or imbalance between your desire and your self-image is established, your brain, almost automatically and unquestionably, will always pull you down, limiting your progress. This will always happen, without exception. And it is at this point that a technique of immense power emerges, simple in its conception, but incredibly transformative in its results: guided emotional visualization. This practice does not consist of simply visualizing the goal as if it were a distant and unattainable dream, something located in an uncertain future. On the contrary, it's about visualizing this goal as if it were already a palpable and present reality in your life. To do this, you must cultivate the right emotions, those you would feel if your goal were already achieved. It requires adopting the appropriate body language, that of someone already successful and fulfilled. You must make the decisions a successful person would, acting in alignment with this new reality. This is because your complex brain cannot precisely distinguish between a vivid imagination and the concrete reality of facts. It registers as absolute truth whatever you feel with genuine intensity and conviction. And when you allow yourself to feel, with all your inner strength, as if you already possess what you deeply desire, your mind begins to work tirelessly to align your behaviors, attitudes, and actions with this new version of yourself, which you are actively constructing mentally. Embrace this powerful practice diligently and daily in your life. Choose a clear, well-defined goal, calmly close your eyes, and visualize it as if you have already fully achieved it. Feel with your entire soul the environment around you, the sensation of deep security, serene tranquility, and the unwavering confidence emanating from your being. Perform this exercise for a few minutes, every day, without fail. This is by no means mere fantasy or daydreaming. This is a highly effective process of mental conditioning. It is precisely how new paradigms are installed and rooted in your subconscious mind. This is how your mind learns to stop the impulse to pull you back, to keep you stagnant, and instead begins to powerfully propel you forward, towards your growth and fulfillment. And before we proceed to the next section, I want to leave you with a crucial question that you should carry with you and reflect upon until the end of this video. If you possessed the unwavering and absolute certainty that it would be impossible to fail in any endeavor, what would you dedicate yourself to accomplishing within this period of 12 months? Ponder this question with the deepest honesty and authentic sincerity. Because the answer you give will reveal the true magnitude and real potential of your life, and, at the same time, unveil the true extent of your self-sabotage, of the limits you impose upon yourself. In the next part of our content, we will delve into the detailed process of mental reprogramming, and only then will you gain a complete understanding of how to definitively and irreversibly break free from the old, limited version of yourself. Because, the moment you completely liberate yourself from it, absolutely nothing will have the power to impede your continuous growth and full expansion. And as you deepen and internalize this transformative understanding, you begin to realize, with crystal clear clarity, that nothing you genuinely desire is, in fact, beyond your reach or unattainable. What is very often missing is not a lack of inherent capacity, nor a deficiency of intelligence, nor an absence of luck or fortune. What is missing, in its essence, is consciousness. The sharp awareness of your own inner power, the awareness of your unique energetic vibration, the profound awareness that you are not merely reacting passively to the external world, you are, in fact, shaping and co-creating the world around you from your own internal universe, from your most intimate beliefs and feelings. And when this fundamental truth finally integrates and perfectly aligns within your being, something truly extraordinary and magical manifests. Persistent doubts begin to lose their grip and power over you. Paralyzing fear gradually diminishes, dissipating into thin air. Overwhelming anxiety ceases to dictate your steps and decisions. Because you start to act not from what your eyes see in external reality, but from what you know deep within, what you feel profoundly in your heart, and what you have consciously and intentionally decided to create and manifest in your life. It is the state of being where what was once considered impossible ceases to be an insurmountable barrier and transforms into merely a word that no longer applies to your new reality, to your constantly evolving existence. As time progresses, you begin to discern and identify subtle indicators and signs. Situations previously perceived as mere fortuitous coincidences now acquire new and profound meaning. People aligned with your purposes cross your path in synchronized ways. Innovative ideas and creative solutions emerge in your mind with renewed clarity, and valuable opportunities unfold in places where before there seemed to be absolutely nothing. And this entire chain of positive events begins to manifest because your energetic vibration is already harmoniously aligning with the new reality you are actively building and manifesting in your life. And this is the precise moment when you finally understand that what you so eagerly seek is also, in some intrinsic way, seeking you. That life, in its inherent wisdom, responds directly to your level of consciousness and perception. That the more you expand and develop internally, the more life expands and enriches itself alongside you. And that, when you vibrate from an unwavering certainty and a profound conviction, the universe, in its totality and complexity, has no other alternative but to respond on the same vibrational frequency you are emitting. And as you allow these ideas and concepts to settle and deeply embed within your being, notice how this entire panorama begins to make even more sense and perfectly align as you allow yourself to advance a little further in this continuous process of self-discovery and transformation. Every internal reflection, every revealing insight, every small and subtle alteration in your inner world opens up valuable space for the manifestation of even greater results in the near future, and it is important to emphasize that this is just the beginning of what we will continue to explore and delve into together on our journey. By the way, if any of the discussions and reflections we've shared here today have touched your heart or resonated with you in a meaningful way, please generously share this video with a special person in your life, someone who could also immensely benefit from this transformative journey. Sometimes, a single message, delivered at the most opportune and precise moment, has the power to completely alter the course of someone's life, fostering a radical and positive change. Let's move forward with enthusiasm and determination. I will meet and await you in the next video.